January 20th, 1996. The city of Varginha in southern Minas Gerais, Brazil, a quiet, middle-class town of about 120,000 people known for its coffee production and conservative Catholic community. The day began ordinarily, but by late afternoon, multiple independent groups of citizens would report events that would spark one of the most controversial and talked about UFO cases in South American history, often called Brazil's Roswell. It started around 8 a.m. Residents near the Jardim Andir neighborhood heard a loud rumbling and saw a cigar-shaped or submarine-like object flying low over the city. Witnesses described it as gray, approximately 15 to 20 meters long, with a smooth metallic surface and visible damage, a crack or hole on one side, emitting white smoke or vapor. The object wobbled erratically, losing altitude as it moved slowly northwest. Several people, including a farmer and motorists on the BR 491 highway, watched it descend toward a wooded area near the city's Zoo and Santana neighborhood. Some reported seeing small fragments falling or the craft breaking apart slightly. By early afternoon, the Brazilian Army and Fire Department were alerted. Firefighters from the 1st Platoon, led by Major Maciel, received calls about a strange creature sighted in the Jardim Andir area. 3 young women, sisters Liliane and Valkyria Silva, aged 14 and 16, and their friend Katia Xavier, 22, were walking home from work around 3:30 p.m. when they encountered something that would change their lives. The girls cut through a vacant lot near a garage when they saw a creature crouched against a wall about 5 to 7 meters away. They described it as approximately 1.2 to 1.5 meters tall, with dark brown oily skin, no visible clothing, large red eyes, 3 prominent bumps or horns on its head, thin arms and legs with V-shaped feet, and a strong ammonia-like odor. The being appeared injured or weak, moving its head slowly as if in pain. Terrified, the girls screamed and ran home, telling their mother Luisa Silva what they had seen. Luisa initially dismissed it as imagination, but became concerned when the girls refused to leave the house. Meanwhile, military activity intensified. Witnesses reported Army trucks and soldiers in the area where the cigar-shaped object was last seen. Local hospital staff later confirmed that military personnel brought in an injured creature for examination. Geraldo Paco Mendez, a 34-year-old Social Security worker, was driving near the zoo around 7 p.m. when he saw soldiers capturing a creature identical to the girl's description. He claimed to have watched from close range as soldiers used nets to subdue the being, which emitted buzzing sounds and appeared disoriented. That evening, military vehicles transported something covered in tarps to the Escola de Sargentos das Armas, ESA, in Três Caracas, and later to the Humanitas Hospital in Varginha. Hospital personnel, including nurses and doctors, reported seeing a creature with the same characteristics being treated in a restricted area. The military's role in the Varginha events became the central pillar of the case, with multiple sources confirming unusual activity on January 20th and the days following. Lieutenant Colonel Olimpio Vanderlei Santos, commander of the ESA, Escola de Sargentos das Armas, military school in nearby Três Caracas, was reportedly directly involved. Years later, in interviews with ufologist Huberger Rodriguez and others, military personnel under anonymity described receiving orders to capture a live creature found in the Santana neighborhood. According to these accounts, soldiers from the ESA and military police located the being in a wooded area near where the girls had their encounter. The creature was weak, possibly injured, and was captured using a net. It was placed in a wooden box covered with a tarp and transported first to the ESA base, then to Humanitas Hospital for initial examination. Hospital staff provided some of the most compelling corroboration. Nurses and doctors on duty that night reported seeing military personnel bring in a creature matching the girl's description. Dr. Klein d'Acunha confirmed treating a soldier who handled the being and later fell ill. Medical records show unusual activity, restricted access to certain areas, military guards, and the arrival of high-ranking officers. One of the most tragic elements was the death of Corporal Marco Eli Cheriz, a 23-year-old military policeman. On January 20th, Cheriz was part of the capture team. Within days, he developed severe symptoms: high fever, weakness, and a large abscess on his back. He was hospitalized and died on February 15th from what official records called toxic infection, or septicemia. His family and colleagues believe he contracted an unknown infection from contact with the creature. Autopsy reports noted an unidentified toxin in his blood, and his sister later stated that doctors were baffled by the rapid progression. Cheriz's death certificate listed multiple organ failure due to infection, but no common pathogen was identified. The three girls, Liliane, Valkyria, and Katia, stood by their story from the beginning. Their mother, Luisa Silva, confirmed their terror upon returning home. The girls were interviewed separately by investigators and provided identical details. The creature's oily brown skin, large protruding red eyes, three horn-like protrusions, thin limbs, and the overpowering ammonia smell. Ufologist Huberger Rodriguez, a Varginha resident and lawyer, began investigating immediately. He interviewed the girls within days and found them credible and consistent. Rodriguez also spoke with Araldo Mendez, who claimed to have witnessed the capture from his car. Mendez described the creature struggling weakly in the net as soldiers loaded it into a truck. Fire department involvement added another layer. Major Maciel and his team responded to calls about a strange animal in the area. They reportedly located a second creature, dead or dying, and turned it over to military authorities. Firefighter reports describe an oily, foul-smelling being with the same characteristics. By evening, the city was abuzz with rumors. Hospitals were placed under heightened security. Witnesses reported convoys of army trucks moving between locations under cover of darkness. The captured creature was allegedly transferred first to the regional hospital, then to the prestigious Universidade de Campinas, Unicamp, for advanced examination, and finally to the United States via military transport. Brazilian Air Force Colonel Sergio Coelho de Lucena later confirmed aspects of the case in interviews, stating that the military did capture something and that the incident was handled at the highest levels. Other officers, speaking anonymously, described pressure from superiors to remain silent. The official response to the Varginha events was swift and consistent denial. The Brazilian Army, Air Force, and local authorities issued statements claiming no unusual activity occurred on January 20th, 1996. Military spokesmen described reports as rumors or misidentifications, perhaps a deformed dwarf, a disabled person, or even a circus animal that escaped. Hospital administrators denied any creature was brought in for treatment. The death of Corporal Marco Eli Cheriz was attributed to routine infection from a minor surgery or contamination unrelated to any extraterrestrial event. However, cracks in the official narrative appeared over time. In 2004, during a public forum in Varginha organized by ufologists, several military officers spoke anonymously but provided detailed accounts. One retired sergeant confirmed the capture operation, describing the creature as alive but weak, with an oily substance covering its body. Another officer claimed two creatures were captured, one alive in the afternoon, the one seen by the girls, and one dead earlier in the day. The dead being was reportedly found by firefighters and handed over to the army. The girls and their family faced intense scrutiny. Initially celebrated locally, they soon endured ridicule and threats. Luisa Silva reported anonymous phone calls warning her to stop talking. The girls were interviewed by media worldwide, but maintained their story without variation. Katia Xavier, the eldest, passed polygraph tests administered by independent investigators. Liliane and Valkyria also underwent psychological evaluations, showing no signs of fabrication or mental instability. Ufologist Uberger Rodriguez compiled a 500-page dossier with over 100 witness statements, medical records, and military testimonies. His work, supported by AJA, Associação de Jornalistas e Escritores de Ufologia, concluded that a non-human entity was captured and covered up. International interest grew. American researcher John Carpenter and others visited Varginha. Rumors circulated that the creature was transferred to the United States via Albrook Air Force Base in Panama, with involvement from NORAD and U.S. intelligence. Brazilian Air Force documents released in 2010 under Freedom of Information requests acknowledged UFO sightings in the region, but denied creature capture. However, a 2009 statement from Brigadier Jose Pessoa de Freitas admitted the military investigated something unusual in Varginha, but classified the findings. The case's credibility rests on multiple independent chains of evidence. The crashing objects seen by dozens, the creature sightings by separate groups at different times and locations, military mobilization witnessed by civilians, hospital activity, and the unexplained death of Corporal Therese. Skeptics point to cultural factors, Brazil's strong UFO interest and media sensationalism, suggesting collective misidentification or hoax. The creature has been explained as a homeless man with disabilities covered in mud or a pregnant woman in distress. These theories struggle against the consistency of descriptions across witnesses who never met. The homeless man explanation was debunked when no matching individual was found, and the girls insisted the being had no human features. The Varginha incident shares traits with other alleged retrieval cases: military rapid response, medical involvement, witness intimidation, and official denial despite leaks from insiders. Nearly 3 decades later, the city of Varginha has embraced its UFO legacy. A water tower is shaped like a spaceship, and UFO-themed tourism attracts visitors. Annual conferences feature witnesses retelling their stories. The girls, now women in their 40s, continue to speak out. Liliane Silva has said, "We know what we saw. It wasn't human. It wasn't from this world." The death of Corporal Therese remains the most poignant element. His family believes he paid the ultimate price for doing his duty. His sister has publicly stated that doctors told her privately the infection was unlike anything they had seen. Whether one views Varginha as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation or a complex misunderstanding amplified by rumor, the case endures for its human impact. Witnesses suffered ridicule, threats, and health consequences. Military personnel allegedly risked careers to reveal fragments of truth. What fell from a sky over Varginha in January 1996? What did 3 young women encounter in a vacant lot? And why did a young soldier die weeks later after handling something unknown? The official silence contrasts sharply with the volume of testimony from those who were there. Their accounts, consistent, detailed, and persistent, form a narrative that official denials have never fully erased. Varginha remains Brazil's most famous UFO case, a story of ordinary people thrust into an extraordinary event and a military operation that, if the witnesses are correct, successfully concealed one of the most direct encounters in modern history.